I have two cats. All they do is scratch up my furniture, throw up hairballs, and I'm constantly cleaning up their litter box. But at least they don't have an evil mutant cat living inside of them, like in the Uninvited. So I guess I'm doing alright. It all starts out in some lab that does testing on animals. Some doctors see something strange on an x-ray and decide to open up the cat and take a look. But they don't get their chance, because it escapes. Eventually, some guys wearing the world's creepiest hazmat suit corners the cat and they tranquilize it. They go to pick it up and the weird evil cat pops out. So here's the deal with this thing. This evil cat lives inside a good cat and only comes out when it needs to. If you're nice and good to the cat, you'll be just fine. But do wrong and its bad side comes crawling out of its mouth. Then, when it's done, it just pops right back in. So it's kind of like Jekyll and Hyde, just way more cheesy. Anyway, the cat manages to escape out of the lab and into the city. Now we meet two girls, Bobby and Suzanne, out partying for spring break. They try to get a room at a fancy hotel, but they don't have any money. The manager is just about to kick them out when Walter Graham stops him. Walter is a super rich Wall Street investor, and at this hotel, money talks. He takes the two girls to dinner, no strings attached. You know, as long as they sleep with him. Now we meet another rich guy, Mike Harvey, played by George Kennedy, who's probably most famous for his role in the Academy Award-winning film Demon Warp. On his side is Albert, played by Clu Gulager, another Creature movie review familiar face, for his role in the Feast movies. Anyway, these guys remind Mr. Graham of an important business meeting he has to attend to. They meet on Walter's yacht with Daryl, some guy that they're working with on a shady business deal. He's getting nervous and talking about backing out. But if he does, he'll most likely squeal to the FCC. Then Mike and Walter would be ruined. Daryl isn't like them. He's not filthy rich, so they offer him $3 million to keep quiet. He agrees, but I guess that's still not good enough, and they kill him anyway. The next day, we meet Lance, Corey, and Martin, more kids out on spring break, and Suzanne and Bobby invite them over to Walter's yacht. I don't really know why. They have no business asking the boys to come along. They would be uninvited. Oh, wait, I get it. Another uninvited guest is the stray cat Suzanne finds before boarding the boat. It's so cute, she just can't resist, even after seeing on its collar that it's from a genetic lab. On board the boat, we see the one and only remaining person on the crew, the ship's captain, Rachel. It turns out that Walter got drunk one night, yelled at everyone, and they all quit, except for her. When the old rich guys see all the young poor men board the boat, they want nothing to do with them, telling them that they all have to leave immediately. The idea is only hastened when Albert delivers some bad news, that the FCC caught wind of them and are coming to search the boat right now. But when the kids hear that he needs a crew, they all volunteer to help out. Being in a time crunch, Walter agrees. What's the first task they're assigned with? I don't know, I guess dancing. That happens a lot in this movie. On the deck, the rich guys talk about their plan. They have a ton of money in an offshore bank account in the Cayman Islands. All they have to do is get there first thing Monday morning before the feds freeze the account. Withdraw all the money, then they'll be set for 10 lifetimes. So that's where the boat set its course. And they're on a time crunch. Little do they know that our little cat friend is exploring down in the engine room, and when something scares it, it freaks out and attacks the engine, making it slowly overheat. That night, everyone is talking and joking around while Rachel and Martin get to know each other a little better. Walter comes over and interrupts, trying to get into Rachel's pants, like he's been trying to do to every girl in this movie so far. She gets up and decides it's time to relieve Albert from steering the ship. When she gets up there, she sees that he's drunk.
Albert!
Not only that, but he also drove him off course. While she fixes his mistake, he wanders around looking for more wine. And while he finds it, he also finds the cat. He spits on it, and that's a big mistake, because that's all it takes for it to go into attack mode. It kills Albert, and he falls overboard, getting the attention of Mike and Walter. They go to investigate and figure it out that he fell overboard. The guys say it's probably best to just keep this their little secret, or else Rachel will call in the authorities and make them stop and look for him, thus missing their Monday morning deadline. Admittingly, their plan is kinda dumb. Did they think Rachel wouldn't notice that Albert was missing? Well, the next day she goes to tell the guys that the ship is running hot and she had to kill the engine for a while. She also tells them that she's thinking Albert fell overboard in a drunken stupor. The guys all act surprised and play it off as if they didn't know. And after a lot of convincing, learning that Albert can't swim, so he's dead anyway, and Walter basically saying that he'll give her the ship if she agrees to not call the authorities. So she doesn't. Later that day, Walter comes on strong to Bobby. Too strong, basically forcing himself on her. When Lance comes in to save her, a fight breaks out. Mike shows up and he shoots Lance in the arm. This gets Corey's attention, who joins in on the fight. In the end, Mike wins. Wow, for an old man, he can really handle himself. When he goes to get his dropped gun, the cat is there to teach him a lesson. It bites clean through his shoe and starts tearing apart his ankle. Ouch. Susanna and Rachel go to radio for some help, but as you would guess, Walter won't let them, and he shoots it. Smart. So now, when they need it most, they won't be able to call for help. Walter threatens Rachel, but she knows better. If she dies, who's gonna run the boat? So he moves on to Suzanne. Reluctantly, Rachel agrees to keep steering, but the engine is still overheated, so it's not gonna start. When Walter gives it a go, the girls team up and take his gun. Not such a tough guy now, are you, buddy? Downstairs, Martin figures out that the cat is poisonous. Yeah, so it actually makes more blood cells at a rapid rate, basically filling you up until you pop. But only if you are bit by the cat or you eat something the cat has eaten. Mike is a goner, and there's no hope for him, dying a slow and painful death. But now, the rest have to figure out how to not only fix the engine, but also how to not get bit by this crazy cat. Good luck. Rachel and Martin are the only two people with an actual head on their shoulders, so they set out to fix the engine. While they work, they bond, and we learn that Rachel and her dad own the ship. He got sick, medical bills started piling up, and they had to sell to Walter to make ends meet. Cool. Let's get to more cat kills, shall we? Bobby is nursing Lance back to health, and she isn't doing a very good job, just making out with him. He does tell her that because of the bullet wound, he has no feeling in his arm. So that's cool, I guess. Bobby decides to take a look at the damage, and, well, because he can't feel it, Lance doesn't notice that the cat is gnawing on his fingers. He freaks out because he knows he's going to fill up with blood and pop like a pimple. So he decides to just jump overboard instead, accidentally taking Bobby with him too. Others jump in to save him, but they must have sunk like a lead weight, because they're long gone. The remaining crew work on fixing the engine and hunting down the cat, but things aren't going so well. They're sitting in the middle of the ocean and running out of food. To make matters worse, the cat got into the food supply, so now it's all tainted. They're screwed and starving. It gets to the point for Suzanne where it's worth the risk to eat some of the food. They don't really know for sure if it'll kill them. Well, guess what? It does. She starts to fill up with blood as the cat just sits there and watches. At this point, all the survivors have given up on getting the engine fixed and have moved on to the lifeboat. Walter goes to get his briefcases full of money while Rachel and Martin prepare the boat. He grabs 2 of them and throws them in, but he's one greedy SOB and he has to head back for the last one. I mean, there is $1 million in each case, so I kinda get it. Well, surprise, surprise, the cat's there waiting for him, and it attacks and kills him. Rachel and Martin escape the now sinking boat and look inside the cases, only to see that all their money problems are now over. They celebrate, but it's cut short when the crazed cat hops onto the boat. They manage to throw it overboard, but it just jumps right back in. They figure that if they give it something to float on, they'll be okay. So they dump the money out of one of the cases and throw it into the water. And sure enough, the cat climbs on and just hangs out there. Never in my life did I think I would see a mutant cat using a briefcase as a boat. But here we are. Rachel and Martin make it back to dry land and they live happily ever after. As for the cat, well, we see the briefcase washed up to shore, and we do see a cat, but it's a black cat, clearly not the same one. A little boy picks it up, and that's the end. I don't know, maybe the mutant cat transferred its consciousness to a random black cat, and now it has evil powers too? I don't know. The Uninvited is no doubt a weird movie, but it falls into the so bad it's good genre. George Kennedy does a great job as always, and how he kept a straight face after seeing that cat puppet is anyone's guess. The other actors did an alright job. It was nothing special. Walter was okay, and Albert was pretty funny. But let's get to the real star of the show here. The cat. How does one sit there and come up with this stuff? I'll never know. A mutant cat that can transform just isn't enough. No, we have to have it come out of another cat's mouth. And then, when it's done, it just crawls back inside. What were they smoking when they came up with this one? The Uninvited is worth a watch for sure, but just don't take it too seriously. I give it 2.5 cats floating on a briefcase out of 4.
It's a shame about Albert. I liked him.
Yeah, well, he's shark bait now.